The unicorn is a creature of legend. It's often depicted as a horse with a single spiraled horn on its forehead. Unicorns appear in myths and stories from around the world. They are often symbols of purity, grace, and power. The Bible mentions unicorns 9 times. These mentions occur in the Old Testament in books like Numbers, Deuteronomy, Job, Psalms, and Isaiah. Some people have interpreted them literally, believing that the Bible is describing a real creature that is now extinct. Others have viewed these passages metaphorically, seeing the unicorn as a symbol of strength, wildness, or even Christ himself. However, the most likely explanation is that the word unicorn is a mistranslation of the Hebrew word rayam. Let's examine a few specific passages where the word unicorn appears in the King James Version of the Bible. In Psalm 22:21 we read, "Save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns of the unicorns." Here, the psalmist is crying out to God for deliverance from danger, using the unicorn as a symbol of a powerful and threatening adversary. Similarly, in Job September 10th, 39, God asks Job, "Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide by thy crib? Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valleys after thee?" The rhinoceros, with its massive size, thick hide, and formidable horn, fits this description perfectly. The mistranslation of rayam as unicorn is understandable given the limited knowledge of ancient animals that existed at the time when the Bible was translated into English. Translating ancient texts is a complex and challenging task. Languages evolve over time, and words can take on new meanings or fall out of use altogether. When the King James Version of the Bible was translated in the early 17th century, the translators faced the daunting task of finding English equivalents for Hebrew words that had no direct counterparts in the English language. In some cases, they relied on the best available knowledge of the time, which may not have been entirely accurate. This is likely what happened with the word rayam. At the time, the rhinoceros was not a well-known animal in Europe. They may have relied on second-hand accounts or legends, which could have contributed to the confusion. To fully appreciate the significance of the rayam in the Bible, it's important to understand how animals were viewed and understood in the ancient world. Animals played a vital role in ancient Near Eastern cultures. They were a source of food, clothing, and transportation. They were also often seen as symbols of power, strength, and even divinity. The rayam, with its imposing size and formidable horn, would have been a creature of great awe and respect. It's no wonder that it is mentioned in the Bible in contexts that emphasize strength, wildness, and untamability. By understanding the cultural context in which these passages were written, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the richness and complexity of the Bible's language. The rayam is often mentioned in the Bible in poetic or metaphorical contexts. For example, in Deuteronomy 33:17, Moses blesses the tribe of Joseph, saying, "His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh." Here, the horns of unicorns are used as a symbol of strength and power, representing the military might of the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. Similarly, in Numbers 23:22, the prophet Balaam describes the Israelites as being like the unicorn, implying that they are a powerful and unstoppable force. In these passages, the rayam is not simply a literal animal, but a symbol of something greater. By understanding the rayam in its proper context, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the richness and depth of the biblical narrative. Now let's fast forward a couple of centuries and take a look at how the word unicorn was understood in the 19th century. If you were to pick up an 1828 edition of Noah Webster's dictionary, you might be surprised to find that the definition of unicorn points directly to the rhinoceros. This dictionary, a cornerstone of American English, defines unicorn as a single-horned animal, specifically mentioning the monoceros, which is another term for a rhinoceros. This might seem confusing at first, especially since we know that some rhinoceros species have 2 horns. However, the same dictionary clarifies this by defining rhinoceros as a genus of quadrupeds that includes 2 types, the unicorn, having a single horn, and the bicornis, having two horns. This distinction reveals that the understanding of unicorn in the early 19th century wasn't limited to the mythical creature we often picture today. It encompassed the real-life rhinoceros, specifically those with a single horn, as a valid interpretation of the term. The fact that some rhinoceroses have two horns while others have one might seem like a contradiction. However, this difference doesn't negate the connection between the biblical unicorn and the rhinoceros. It simply highlights the diversity within the rhinoceros family. The King James Bible, translated in 1611, drew from a time when knowledge of these animals was less precise than it is today. It's possible that the translators were aware of single-horned rhinoceroses like the Indian rhinoceros, which was found in areas closer to biblical lands. The two-horned African rhinoceroses might have been less familiar or even unknown at that time. Therefore, the image of a powerful single-horned creature would have aligned with their understanding of both the ram and the unicorn. The difference in the understanding of unicorn between the 1611 King James Bible translation and the 1828 Webster's dictionary is significant. It highlights the importance of considering the historical context when interpreting ancient texts. What might seem like a clear-cut definition today might have had a different nuance or understanding centuries ago. Applying modern-day definitions to ancient texts can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations. The King James Version translators, working with the knowledge available to them at the time, used the term unicorn to represent the Hebrew ram. Their understanding of unicorn likely encompassed the rhinoceros, particularly the single-horned varieties. The 1828 Webster's dictionary further solidifies this connection, explicitly linking unicorn to the rhinoceros. This understanding reminds us that the Bible, while a source of spiritual truth, was also written in a specific historical and cultural context. Understanding the historical context of the Bible's translation is crucial for accurately interpreting its message. The word unicorn, appearing in the King James Version, is a prime example of how language evolves and how historical context shapes our understanding. The translators of the King James Version weren't deliberately trying to mislead readers with the term unicorn. They were working with the knowledge and resources available to them at the time, striving to convey the meaning of the original Hebrew text as accurately as possible. The fact that the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, a respected authority on American English, defined unicorn in relation to the rhinoceros, demonstrates that this understanding was prevalent and accepted in that era. It reminds us that language is dynamic and meanings can shift over time. Therefore, approaching the Bible with a willingness to delve into its historical context, to understand the nuances of language and translation, enriches our appreciation of its message and allows us to grasp its timeless truths. To further solidify the connection between the biblical unicorn and the rhinoceros, we can turn to the Latin translations of the Bible. Latin, the language of scholarship and religion in medieval Europe, offers a valuable lens through which to view this issue. In the Latin Vulgate, one of the most influential Latin translations of the Bible, the word unicornis frequently appears in passages where the King James Version uses unicorn. This Latin term, unicornis, is directly related to the rhinoceros. It's derived from the combination of the Latin words unus, meaning one, and cornu, meaning horn. This etymology clearly points to a single-horned animal, aligning perfectly with the single-horned rhinoceros species. The use of unicornis in the Latin Vulgate consistently points to the rhinoceros as the intended animal. Even in modern science, we find a direct link between the terms unicorn and rhinoceros. The scientific name for the Indian rhinoceros, the single-horned species, is Rhinoceros unicornis. This scientific classification, using unicornis as a species name, further solidifies the historical and linguistic connection between these two terms. It's fascinating to see how a word that has taken on mythical connotations in popular culture retains its original connection to a real animal within the realm of scientific nomenclature. This connection highlights that the understanding of unicorn as a rhinoceros wasn't limited to ancient times or early translations. It persisted into the modern era. The scientific community, with its rigorous standards for accuracy and precision, recognizes and acknowledges the historical link between unicorn and the single-horned rhinoceros. The realization that the unicorns of the Bible actually refer to rhinoceroses might come as a surprise to some. However, this understanding, far from undermining the authority or accuracy of the Bible, actually strengthens our faith in its historical reliability. Recognizing that the Bible was written in a specific historical and cultural context, and that its language reflects the understanding of that time, allows us to approach the text with greater accuracy and appreciation. The Bible isn't a book of fairy tales or myths, it's a collection of historical accounts, poems, prophecies, and teachings that have shaped civilizations for centuries. Understanding the cultural context in which it was written, including the language and the understanding of the natural world at that time, enhances our comprehension of its message. The unicorn example demonstrates that what might appear as a discrepancy or a mythical element at first glance can, upon closer examination, reveal a deeper layer of accuracy and consistency within the biblical narrative. The Bible, with its rich tapestry of stories, teachings, and prophecies, continues to inspire and challenge readers across generations. While language evolves, the core messages of faith, hope, and love remain timeless. Understanding the biblical unicorn shows the importance of approaching Scripture with inquiry and historical context. This approach helps dispel myths and leads to a deeper comprehension of the Bible's message. The Bible, when understood in its proper context, reveals a depth that resonates with readers. This strengthens our faith and deepens our appreciation for the enduring power of Scripture. As we've journeyed through the Scriptures, we've uncovered a fascinating truth about the unicorns mentioned in the Bible. These unicorns are not mythical creatures, but rather refer to the powerful rhinoceros. The King James Version used the term unicorn based on early 17th century knowledge. Delving into the original Hebrew word, rheum, and Latin translations, we see the unicorn aligns with the rhinoceros, specifically single-horned varieties. This enhances the Bible's historical accuracy and connection to the natural world. We can approach the Scriptures with greater clarity and appreciation. The realization that the unicorns of the Bible represent rhinoceroses also invites us to consider the deeper symbolism and meaning embedded within these passages. While the literal interpretation is essential, the Bible often uses imagery and metaphors to convey profound truths. The rhinoceros, with its immense strength, imposing presence, and solitary nature, served as a powerful symbol in the ancient world. It represented strength, wildness, and untamability, qualities often attributed to both formidable enemies and the challenges faced by the faithful. In Psalms, the unicorn represents a powerful adversary, while in Job, it symbolizes the untamed forces of nature. These metaphorical uses highlight the rhinoceros's symbolic significance in the ancient world, further reinforcing its connection to the unicorn of the Bible. By recognizing the deeper layers of meaning embedded within these passages, we gain a richer understanding of the Bible's message. We learn that even seemingly simple words and images can carry profound significance, inviting us to explore the text with open minds and hearts. The journey of understanding the biblical unicorn underscores the importance of approaching Scripture with a holistic perspective. The Bible is not merely a collection of stories or moral teachings, it's a complex tapestry woven from history, culture, language, and faith. To fully grasp its message, we must engage with all these elements, recognizing that our understanding of the text is enriched by considering its historical and cultural context. The Bible was written in a world vastly different from our own, and its language reflects the understanding and worldview of that time. By acknowledging this, we can avoid imposing our own cultural biases or modern-day interpretations onto the text. Instead, we can approach the Scriptures with humility and a willingness to learn, allowing the text to speak to us within its historical and cultural framework. This approach fosters a deeper appreciation for the Bible's richness and complexity, revealing layers of meaning that might otherwise remain hidden. The realization that the unicorns of the Bible are actually rhinoceroses should not shake our faith but rather strengthen it. It demonstrates that the Bible, when understood in its proper context, aligns with the natural world. This discovery encourages us to approach the Scriptures with a spirit of inquiry and curiosity. The Bible is a living word that continues to speak to us across generations. By embracing a deeper understanding of its language and context, we open ourselves to a richer experience of faith.